Hello my friends and fellow guitar nerds. Today we are going to take a look at a solution to an alternate picking problem that plagues all of us. Alright, so if you've been playing for a while and you're working on your leads and maybe scales and playing stuff, trying to play more of that shredder kind of thing and play a little bit faster, one of the things that you invariably run into is a problem where as you're running up or even down a scale, but in this for this lesson we're working just from low to high, you'll run into a problem where you hit like this speed limit where you're tripping over every other string. And the reason for that, when you're working with alternate picking, which is kind of like the most common way to start, has to do with the direction your pick is moving in before it gets to the next string. So what I mean by that is that if you're playing like a 3-note per string, typical shredder kind of thing, you start with a downstroke and you're on the first string, and let's just do this in G major. I'm playing the 3-note per string scale, and I go down, up, down. And now when I go to the next string, I had just picked down, so I'm already in the direction of the next string. But to keep going alternate, the next pick stroke is an upstroke. So it's down, up, up. And so as I'm moving through and I get to go to the next string, we run into a problem because I got down, up, down, up. That last stroke before the next string is up. It's not toward the string I'm going to. So I'm going up, down, up on this 5th string, and then have to quick adjust and get back to a downstroke. It's a much more difficult maneuver than going from the 6th to the 5th string if you're playing the entire scale here. So if I started with an upstroke here, as a way of practicing, I could start to try to work on speeding it up. It's a lot harder than doing it with the downstroke started. I can do that quite a bit faster. So as you go through the scale and you're trying to play, every other string skip becomes much more difficult than the one that started with downstroke, and it can slow you down, and no matter how much practice you put in, it can be a real pain in the butt to get it up to speed and evenly. And even for me, working on it like years at a time, I never really got it to the speed that I could get the first half of it. So, a couple of things you can do are just playing legato, just going up like that without actually picking. There's also, of course, what's called conservative picking, which is to go down, up, down, and then go down on the next string, start down. So you're always picking in the direction of the next string if you're going in odd numbers. The problem I had with that is that it didn't feel very natural no matter how much I worked on it. And I also tended to get a little bit out of time. I had a gallopy kind of thing going on, and I know some guys do the conservative thing really well. It just wasn't for me. So the solution I found is the lick that I showed in the beginning in that little example lead there. And that is that I just double up on, I play the first string just 3, and then every other one is going to be 6. I'm doubling up. So it's down, down, and then I have the up, up, and I just do that string again. Down, down. It reverses the pattern. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That sounds a little goofy when I'm just talking it through, but... So in the lead like I did there, you can get some good speed going by doing that doubling down kind of thing. So it's just almost like a little mathematical trick to make sure that you reversed back and that when you're getting ready to go to the next string, you're always picking in the right direction. I also did it up here. So you can play it anywhere in the scale. It doesn't have to start on the bottom string. Wherever you're starting your run and working your way up. And also, if you're working your way down, you can double pick on the way down too as you get through the strings. It will always reset your hand into the correct direction. Now, obviously, just playing it in place like that can get a little bit rote, a little boring. You're just really playing the same notes over and over, and you can start to get tired of it. So there are ways you can mess around and expound upon it. I like to do a thing where I play each set of 3, I move up. So the first 3 is just by itself. Then the second 3 is there, and then I move up, shift to the next position in the mode. And if I keep doing that all the way through, I cover a lot of space. Of course, it requires you to really know your modes and all the way through, and I do have a video series on the modes, which I'll link above here for you. But this is just by way of one example of an idea of how you can expound on it and make it more interesting. The main thing here is just that little trick and the very simple method of doubling up on every string after the first, so your hand is reset to the correct position. And then if you're an alternate picking person like me, you're not going to have that problem where you're going in the wrong direction and it's really hard to keep the flow of speed going. So that's it. It's a little logic trick. It's nothing super complicated, but it took me a long time to arrive at figuring it out and giving up on trying to do something that was just not going to work out physically for me. So I hope for anybody else that was maybe struggling with or is struggling with the same type of thing that I had problems with, that you find this useful, or maybe it leads you to some other ideas and some cool things that you can do. And, if you have any questions or comments, of course, please leave them below. And guys, until next time, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.